Okay, so this lesson, conic sections is circles. Let's see if this will write for me. Circles. Basically, you already know what we're doing with circles. We've already gone over the equations when we were doing the ACT review, but here's just a reminder of a basic circle equation. X squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. That's if it's centered at the origin. And then if it's not centered at the origin, it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared, where this is centered at the point h and k. So if you'll notice, the h and k are a different sign than the h and k here. R squared, r stands for radius for both of these. So we're going to look at two equations, one that's centered at the origin and one that's centered at hk, and graph both of those. And then some of your other problems tell you, they give you the center and the radius, and they want you to write the equation. So we're going to graph two of them, and then I think you should be fine with that. I'll show you one where you have to do some completing the square to get the rest of it. So just graph a couple basic ones. So if I had x squared plus y squared is equal to 25, there's not any shift. So it's a circle centered at the origin, and the radius is going to be 5 since r squared is equal to 25. So the radius is going to be 5. So it's going to go 5 from the center. So 5 in every direction from our origin. It's our center point. From 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put your points. It's going to be a circle, and we'll graph it. So maybe your circle will look better than mine, and you'll actually hit the points. Oh, that's horrible. So that kind of goes like this instead. Let's go through the 5. There we go. Beautiful. All right, and now if it is one that's been transformed, 5x minus 3 squared plus y plus 4 squared is equal to 16. It shifts over to, that's always going to be opposite. It's going to go over 3 in the x direction. It's opposite of the y. It's also going to go down 4. So our center is the point 3, negative 4, and r squared is 16. So radius is equal to 4 for that. So we'll start at the center 3, 4, and then we're going to go 4 in all 4 directions. 1, 2, 3, 3, negative 4 for the center. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's our center. And then you're going up, down, left, and right 4 units. So up 4 units, left 4 units, right 4 units, down 4 units, and there's our circle that's centered at 3, negative 4 with a radius of 4. All right, so that's if you graph it when you have the two. Occasionally they'll give you the radius and tell you where it's centered, and you plug them into the formula. So I'm not going to do any of those guys. You'll have some of those in your homework to do, but those are pretty self-explanatory. And then the next thing is if it's written in what's called general conic form, and we want to put it into standard form. Standard form is the form that we're used to using. So if they give it to you in what's called general conic form, you don't have any of the parentheses. Sorry. Changing that into standard form. And so for this, we're going to have to remember our completing the square a little bit. And when we complete the square, we always cut the number in half and then we square it for our b value. It's been a while since you've seen that. So we're going to do one of the ones from your homework assignment. We have x squared plus y squared plus 24x plus 14y plus 157 is equal to 0. So it's got an x squared, it's got a y squared, and it's all pluses. So I know it's a circle here, but I'm not sure which way it's going to shift and what the radius is if it's in this form. So if that's the case, we're going to group the x's together, we group the y's together, and we move the constants to the other side. So that's our first step. We're going to put our x's together. So we've got x squared plus 24x. I'm going to leave a blank space because I'm going to do some completing the square in a minute. So I need a space for that. Then I've got y squared plus 14y plus another blank space for my y part. And that's going to equal, I'm going to move all my constants to the other side, negative 157. Then I'm going to say plus blank, because if I add it to one side, I'm going to have to add it to the other side. Okay, so when we complete the square, we take our b term, if we remember, we're going to cut it in half, and then we're going to square it. So 24 cut in half is 12, and 12 squared is 144. So if I add it here, I'm going to also add it over there. So what I did to get that number is I said b, and I cut it in half, and then I squared it, with my b's being the parts that are next to the x. Do the same thing over here. 14 cut in half is 7, and I square that, and I get 49. Okay? And also add it over here. So now at this part, we just have to write this as a quadratic. And that is x plus 12 times x plus 12 is going to make this, because 12 times 12 is 144. 12 plus 12 is 24. And on the other one, in the same way, see if you can kind of figure it out. It's going to be y plus what two numbers multiply to 49 and add to 14? Yeah, that's 7. Okay. And then just combine these in your calculator and you get 36. And now this is in standard form, where I've got x plus 12 squared, I know it's going left 12, y plus 7 squared, I know it's going down 7, and that the radius is going to be 6. So you'd be able to graph it from there if you needed to. Okay, so that is your circle lesson. Have fun doing that work.